Hello, my name is Minter Dial, and if you're anything like me, you might be sitting at a desk at some makeshift home office, looking out the window and thinking, what on earth is going on? So over the next couple of minutes, I'd like to share with you a way to take perspective inspired by Hans Rosling's Factfulness approach. Every morning we wake up bombarded with data from all over the place about numbers of cases and deaths, rates of fatality, city by city, country by country. And it can be a very overwhelming experience. I believe there's a great way for us to review what's happening in a new light, another context. Rosling in his book talked about two things that we should separate when it comes to facing crises. One is what's frightening, and the other is what's dangerous. And they're two very different things. And as a society that has embraced eternal progress and is happy to push for no limits, we've been knocked off course today, focusing on a lot of things that are frightening. As Rosling points out, we tend to get frightened by three factors: contamination, captivity, and violence. And in today's world, we're actually suffering from two of these pretty much everywhere around the world: contamination and lockdown. And for some unfortunate people, they're also suffering from domestic violence. The way the news has it, in this infographic brought to us by Information is Beautiful, you would have thought the coronavirus is the only game in town. There are 2.1 billion hits in Google News versus the last major epidemics, pandemics, and diseases. And it shows the overwhelming coverage we're having, which is all the more extraordinary considering the short time that coronavirus has been around. Taking a look at the numbers, and all these numbers, by the way, are available in a Google Doc that you can look at, as Rosling implores, we need to take perspective and find appropriate comparisons. I broke these numbers down to compare the total Google News mentions versus the number of deaths. And the trend speaks volumes to the existential crisis we're living today. Putting these numbers into an infographic, you can see that the number of press mentions about coronavirus compared to the number of deaths is absolutely staggering, head and shoulders above all the other outbreaks. You have to go down to this tiny little far left-hand corner to find any of the others mentioned. But when you put these numbers into perspective and the amount of time that we've been going through the coronavirus, the dwarfing is even larger because it's been around for only just a matter of months. So why is this happening? Well, let's take some perspective, as Rosling would insist. For example, as has been well documented, every year we see well over 250,000 deaths from the seasonal flu. In 2019, this is what happened, where the deaths occurred mostly in Africa, Latin America, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. But let's compare that to now. This is what's happening now, as of April 17, 2020, where you can see coronavirus is really hitting predominantly Europe and North America, the land of most mainstream media. Fortunately, as yet there's been sparse activity in the other parts of the world. So here we are. We've undertaken this unprecedented lockdown, and we must acknowledge the fantastic efforts by those on the front line. There's certainly more suffering been going on, and there'll be more to come. Yet I think we need to take greater perspective and hopefully take away some important lessons from this situation. First, we need to learn to take a step back from the onslaught of news. Dig in and check out and compare the facts. Add some common sense. Secondly, this is an extraordinary opportunity to spend time on self-reflection, to pause and consider what's important, what really matters to you. And finally, as you go through every day of confinement, be aware of your thoughts, be aware of your triggers, and take agency to decide how you would like to feel. If you've enjoyed this, and please come over and visit me on my site, ping me, email me, tweet me as you like. I would like to start a conversation about how we should be taking perspective and thinking about the lessons learned for when this happens again. Thanks for listening.